Hello and welcome to our Burnley preview. I've got an iPad in front of me, so if you're watching live, do some comments and stuff, and then we'll read them out and the guys will discuss them. We've got Rachel, Mohammed and Adam McCullough off of Full-Time Devils to talk about the football. Burnley first. Guys, let's start with this though. Injuries. As of right now, what we know is that Rojo came off, didn't look very good. Zlatan went down, his knee bent all funny, looked a bit awkward and painful. Mourinho told us he was worried. Luke Shaw said, though, that Zlatan was fine and was walking around the changing room. We haven't had the official update yet, so that is all we know. Adam McCullough, I'm coming to you first. What's going on?
What's going on, Sam? So, it's bad news, isn't it? I remember watching that game and I was just looking at Zlatan and I was thinking, get him off the pitch now. He's been awful, missing everything. His passes weren't reaching anyone in a red shirt. And he had probably his worst game I've seen from him in a United shirt. And then he went down injured. And I could tell it was quite bad because from where I sit, I saw how his leg went back. So my initial thoughts were, that's not good. And I started to worry. I'm thinking, oh no, Zlatan's injured, not Zlatan. And from being in a position where I wanted him off the pitch and I wanted Rashford in that number 9 position, to see him go down injured was a worry because regardless of his performance yesterday, and regardless of the alternatives that we do have to him, which is a good alternative in Rashford, I think Zlatan's been fantastic for us this season, and we'll miss him in the running if he isn't available. Of course, there's that potential final in Stockholm as well, but I'm sure it'd make sure he's fit for that if we did get there. But it was disappointing to see, but the bigger injury for me is Rojo's injury. Without Smalling, without Jones, and even with Smalling and Jones fit, wow, I think Jones has been okay. But if Smalling was fit, I wouldn't be filled with much confidence anyway. But with those guys out, Rojo joining them out, we've got no defenders. Going to have to go back to Bailey and Blind. It may be a good thing for Luke Shaw. May get more game at left back, but may need to call up on Axel Tuanzebe now. And me and Mo were talking off camera as well while we were waiting for Rachel to sort her life out. Mm-hmm. And
I remember that.
We were talking about how I've lost my train of thought now. What was I chatting about?
You were talking about
you were throwing shade at me.
Yeah, Bailey and Blind, and we're talking about how it made me more game time for sure. But he'll probably use Darmian and Young there as well. And also Tuanzebe could come in. But is that likely to happen? Is Jose likely to play 2 teenage players? It'll remain to be seen, but it could happen. It could be forced upon him. He has name-checked Tuanzebe quite a lot, though.
Last time he played 2 teenagers was 2010 with Inter when he had Santon and Dalatelli. So that was a long time ago.
Well, but do you think that's some sort of aggression against teenagers? He hates them. He thinks they're acne-ridden, spoilt brats with strange sleeping schedules and hormones all over the place. Or is it perhaps he didn't have the talent on disposal at the time?
It's more a case of, I mean, if you actually look at it, he's given the most minutes to teenagers, I think, out of all the top managers in the league, purely because he's had Rashford and he just played Rashford. But basically, Mourinho's thing with not just teenagers, young players in general, is that they make mistakes. Young players. They try things that aren't necessarily right. They make poor decisions sometimes. They're not polished. They're not refined, and they don't necessarily know how to win straight away. And Mourinho's very much about winning now, about your players doing the right thing. And young players go against that. They make it harder for him to do his job, which is, and also young players are less likely to buy into his very overtly macho way of doing things. Like you're injured, play through the pain anyway. Young players are like, no, why would I do that? So
this hurts.
That's the well, exactly. Like kids today aren't going to be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll run 50 miles with a broken leg. They're going to be like, get out of here, I need to heal.
Kids, eh? Kids, ruddy kids. Rachel, how worried are you about these injuries?
I actually feel quite bad because when Rojo went down, I was actually having a rant about how annoying it was that he was wasting all this time because I just assumed he was I thought he committed a foul and was like, oh no, I best pretend I'm injured as well. And then it turned out he was and then a stretcher came on and then the worry set in.
Well, I'm glad you felt bad. It sounds like you were quite horrible.
Yeah.
But as long as we repent for our sins, Sam, it's okay.
You've been watching Daredevil?
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm worried about Rojo more than Ibrahimovic. I'm worried about Ibrahimovic because I remember one of the I can't remember the actual statistic, but the one flying around before he came to Manchester United is that he's had very few games out injured over his entire career, and like he's been with us less than a season and we've broken him. Like, I don't know maybe what Luke Shaw's correct. Maybe he's never been injured before because he's literally a superhuman. And even though he's bent his knee backwards, he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, it doesn't even affect me. But I doubt that. He probably is going to be out for a little while, or you would assume so. But we have coverage in that area. You know, Rashford was getting the goals in last year, and he can do it this year. Whereas our back line isn't that strong. Like, we haven't got any depth to it anymore. I never thought I'd be upset to see Rojo leaving the field for Blind, but I was, and I am going forward. Also, if we want to switch to a back three, which works so well for us against Chelsea, it would probably help us against other big sides that we're yet to play. I don't feel comfortable doing that with the players we've got available in defence.
Okay.
Yeah, the Rojo injury is big. It's amazing because, I mean, for years, I swear I was this guy's only fan, and it was so amazing. I was like, he joined the play, incredible. And no one was like, nah, he's no good. I was like, trust me, give him running games at centre back, he'll be amazing. And he's got running games at centre back, he was amazing. And so then.
How much of a hipster are you, Mo? Yeah, right. Before it was cool, yeah, I was into Rojo.
I like that guy that played in the World Cup final before he joined Manchester United. Yeah, I'd heard of him. We're on to you, Mohammed. We're on to you. So, people who are watching this that are writing stuff as well, Adam mentioned him earlier, but Tuanzebe is getting a lot of shouts out. Gardissi says Tuanzebe needs to play. Also, how about this? He also says Fosu Mensah needs to play. Could this potential Rojo injury bring Fosu Mensah into the team? And if so, does it mean Tuanzebe needs to be playing, or should we be using the more senior players? Mohammed?
I mean, to me, I'd rather Tuanzebe than Jones or Smalling. Easy. He'll make mistakes, Tuanzebe, but you know what? So will Jones and Smalling, and they're both in their mid-20s. Like, Tuanzebe's 19. He'll make mistakes, but he'll learn from them and he'll grow from them. And I think he could develop into, and I mean, like Adam says, Mourinho's been name-checking him all season. He could grow into something really special. And I think, you know, if there is one silver lining to this Rojo injury, which is, you know, is otherwise terrible news, it is that Tuanzebe might get a chance. Fosu Mensah to me is more of a, you know, I wouldn't play him with Bailey because I think he's kind of similar to Bailey in that he's an aggressive player. He very pushes forward a lot. He tries to drive things forward. I think you play him and Bailey together, you're just going to expose yourself. I do think Fosu Mensah should get games in midfield and maybe at right back. I think we're wasting his talent. He's really quite special.
Wasted. Adam, Giovanni Vassell says Martial and Rashford up front if Ibra's out. What do you make of that?
I can't see it, you know. I can see Martial holding his left-hand side position.
Mm-hmm.
Could potentially use that Lingard-Rashford thing that we've been using. Could also use Mkhitaryan in that position just behind Marcus Rashford as well. I think he looks pretty good there. Mkhitaryan, he drifted in and out of the game against Anderlecht, but when he got on the ball, some of the shit he does is unbelievable, man. He'll have like 4 players around him and he'll just flip-flop two. The guy is incredible. He took his goal fantastically well yesterday as well. We had a few other players, Rashford, Lingard, Zlatan, Pogba, that just hit it like he did, just hard and low.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many times we've had opportunities where people just go for the goal. It's like, why are you shooting at the goalkeeper when the goal is empty over here? It's just don't make sense to me. But missed so many chances yesterday. But yeah, as you guys were saying, Tuanzebe could come in, and that's great stuff. Marcus Rojo has been quality though, and I think the one thing that worries me is that Jose Mourinho now sees that Smalling, Jones always injured. Rojo's picked up another injury. He's gonna get fed up with these guys, man. We could see a whole new centre half.
Why is that a worry to you? They are always injured. Do you know what I mean? We do need more centre half. This isn't a good situation to be in.
United need one more centre half.
But ripping out, we could seriously.
I'm okay.
We got question marks
over Smalling and Jones.
So am I.
So then why are you worried?
It's not ideal, is it? You don't want to be reshaping your whole backline going into a second season under Jose Mourinho. That's probably something you want to have a little bit more settled going into the season. It's like if Dave leaves, that's something that we don't need going into our second season. Jose Mourinho usually does better in his second seasons, and he will be preparing for next season. And if we need to go with that, that's kind of just another setback, in my opinion.
I agree to an extent that we can't, like, this is a transition season, no matter, everybody hates us saying it because it's usually an excuse, but it is true, it has been a transition season. But I think that can be overcome by adding quality to the side. If we go out and buy a top class central defender, that's going to overcome the fact that we don't have Chris Smalling playing at the back anymore.
I think one of them has to go.
I think both of them have to go. I think you want to go into next season with Bailey and a new centre half as your starters, and Rojo and Tuanzebe as your backups. That's why, that for me, that's your back four. They're your four central defenders.
Don't you think Rojo has potentially made himself first choice?
I mean, I think
him and Bailly.
Yeah, sorry, Sam.
I think Rojo has interesting.
Now, so
why have you?
We don't need Sam anymore. We'll share our own
having
debate.
a nice time just listening. I think it's.
Sam, chip in, Sam. Who should play centre half for United next season? God damn it.
Well, I think you make a very valid point. If you want to win the Premier League, then you need to have an incredibly solid back four. I think it was Fergie that said a 20-season goal striker isn't what wins you the league. It's a centre-back that wins you the league, or at least your defensive pairing. And ours is relatively weak. But if you look around the league, where is their strength? I mean, Virgil van Dijk is playing at Southampton, probably one of the best centre-backs in the league, if not the best at the moment. I do think centre-backs in world football don't look like the calibre they have done in years gone by. Maybe that's a memory thing for me. Maybe that's because systems and formations change. But there's nothing comparable to Ferdinand or Vidic or Jaap Stam, I think, that we could acquire.
Juve have a few, but that's
true.
It's
about systems, like you said. Teams so often play like wide, like Barcelona so often play so high up. Like Piqué often looks kind of ropey, but you look at what he's being asked to do. It's quite like a lot like Rio Ferdinand. Rio made some mistakes every now and again, but because he was asked to play basically 10 yards behind the halfway line or even further up, that's not easy. No, you look at Bonucci, Chiellini, Godin, these guys in the penalty box, they're monsters. You couldn't ask them to play on the halfway line, though. It wouldn't work the same.
No.
So it's that systems, really.
So where do you go? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But it's for Mourinho. He always wins the league in his second season.
I wasn't saying, by the way, I wasn't saying that I want Smalling and Jones to stay by any means necessary. It's more kind of like in disappointment that
they haven't moved on.
That's like, having to change that whole thing. It's just another headache.
I think it's not so much that you don't want them to go. It's worry at the fact that you don't know if a new signing is going to fit in straight away and that we need them to. It's worry of being unsure about what the future will hold for it.
Guys, I'm going to move us on. Are you ready? I enjoyed that debate. I'm sure everybody else did. Right now, though, let's talk about a man who cannot stop scoring in the Europa League, Henrik Mkhitaryan. What do you make of his first season? Because at times he has looked world class. Adam, tell us all about.
Mkhitaryan. I love him. Like I said, though, he did drift in and out of the game, didn't he? He wasn't consistently in the game. But then I also think a lot of the time, he was really frustrated. I've noticed this a few times when Zlatan plays. I don't know if it's his fault or the team's fault or it's a tactic and it's been told to them by the manager. But it's just like, okay, Zlatan's on the pitch. He's the only one who's allowed to put this ball in the net. So therefore, he has to be on the end of every move. And every move kind of just goes towards him. And it's so frustrating. And sometimes we bypass Mkhitaryan because of that. And Mkhitaryan is an absolute baller. But at the same time, I think on the negative side of things, I think he does need to try and, get into a game maybe when he's had 10, 15 minutes quiet. Because he does go quiet for long periods of games and then he'll just pop up with something magic. But overall, and I think this goes with all of Jose Mourinho's signings, he has been fantastic for Manchester United. He's brought the levels up here as well. I think if you look at Eric Bailly, him and Marcus Rojo have been our best centre-halves. One of them's a new signing. You look at our midfielders, Pogba and Herrera have been the best. Pogba's a new signing. Look up front, Zlatan. And all our new signings have positively added something to this side and to this squad. And that is why, as well, I know I had worries about, if we do have to change up our whole back four. But at the same time, Jose Mourinho's record for Manchester United so far in a transfer window has been 100%. And for me, I hear all these rumours and stuff about players potentially coming to Manchester United. I heard about Serge Aurier earlier this week, and it doesn't really excite me if that doesn't. But if he signed, it would, because I trust in Jose Mourinho's decision-making to bring players into this club. I have a few doubts. His youth, his treatment of that, all that stuff. But one thing I do not doubt is his record in the transfer market. And so far, it has been excellent for Manchester United. And I believe that will be the same going forward. I'm so excited for this summer transfer window. Not just because, we're going to spend money and stuff like that. Of course, that's great. But I think we will make quick signings. I think our business will probably be done in the opening 4 to 6 weeks of the season, even ending. And I'm just looking forward to that. Like, it's well-run transfer business, and Mkhitaryan's a shining example of that.
Okay, Rachel, forgetting the future for a moment and focusing on the present, Mkhitaryan has been in and out of the team through the season, and up until November, it looked like it just wasn't going to work out at all. What have you thought about what he's brought to the side this season? Is it what you expected?
I mean, there was a lot of questions in there, but I'm gonna try and answer them all.
I'd like you to. That's kind of
focusing on the present, being philosophical as we are. I think not coming in until November, that was partially an injury, partially Jose's doing. I feel like Jose, I'm not gonna say he wrote off the season early on, but Jose knows a lot about football, and I think he figured out that we weren't going to win the Premier League this year. And so he took his time. He's developed these players. He's done well with Mkhitaryan. I feel like Mkhitaryan, we haven't had the best season, but I don't think that's been Mkhitaryan's fault. Adam's right. He fades in and out of games sometimes. But in reality, I don't know if we bought him for goals. Maybe we did, and maybe he's not actually producing on that in that front. But our finishing's been bad all season, and that's what's been holding us back. And I don't think that's Henrik Mkhitaryan's fault.
He's third or fourth highest goal scorer, isn't he?
And he didn't even start until December.
So I think in the goals front, particularly in the Europa League, he's doing quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's other players that have somewhat let us down. Also, there's been so much rotation, which I know is necessary with being in all those competitions that we were in, and I know that's necessary, but it's been quite frustrating at times. At the start of the season, Wayne Rooney was starting at number 10 for us every week. That feels like such a long time ago. We've been through so many phases, and we've had not really much consistency up at the top.
No, that's very true. Do you remember that game against Watford? That was horrible, wasn't it?
No.
Mohamed.
One of only 3 losses.
We had Bailey and Blind at centre half. Oh no!
Mohamed, what have you made of Mickey T?
He's amazing. He was a world-class footballer when Man United signed him. He's still a world-class footballer. Now the Mourinho thing was just partly Mourinho doing his typical head game thing where he has to dominate a player. Partly I think maybe there was a glint of truth to it that he doesn't want to rush him into the Premier League, because the Premier League is a unique beast. Let's not say it's the best league in the world, but it's definitely unique. But I think partly it was just the fact that Mourinho wanted to be able to take credit for this world-class footballer that he'd signed, and not just in the sense of I signed a world-class footballer, but in the sense of I made him able to play in the Premier League. Look, Mkhitaryan is amazing. He can play in right wings, left wings, number 10, wherever. He's fantastic. His close control and dribbling is second to none. In the Bundesliga last season, before he joined United, he created 82 chances. He had 67 key passes, 15 assists. That's more than any other player in the Bundesliga in 15-16. He was just a phenomenal world-class footballer when he was signed. The fact that he plays for United is almost been overlooked in the sense that how good he actually is. Remember his goal against Spurs? I mean, or against Leicester. This guy has such incredible technique, and it's not. What you said is right. It's not about goals. I mean, goals are nice, but it's really he's a creative player as much as he's a goal-scoring player. And I think once you start putting Marcus Rashford up front, or next season if United sign Antoine Griezmann, once you get those guys a pair of mobile forwards up front, that's going to change everything for Pogba and for Mkhitaryan, because they're being able to move forward at pace is one of the things they do very well, and Zlatan just obviously doesn't do that. Mkhitaryan's world class. He's had a good season considering what Mourinho put him through, and I think he's only going to get much better in the future.
Interesting what you've just said there about Ibrahimovic and his pace, because Statman Dave is watching. He's in the comments, and he says Mickey is boss. We need to move the ball quicker from central midfield to Mickey, Rashford, etc. Too slow from Carrick against Anderlecht.
Yeah, he's exactly right. That was Carrick's had a couple of very nice moments, but essentially he didn't move the ball quick enough at all. And I mean, that's partly because he's old, partly because he's never really moved it that fast forward anyway. That's where you want to put Ander Herrera in, or maybe if you're feeling really adventurous, you want to go into the transfer market and find another player next to Pogba. But really, United have bigger issues at centre back and up front. They need to sign a replacement for Zlatan, essentially.
Miss Herrera so much when he doesn't play.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, because you just look at him and he can do anything. You want a goal scoring midfielder, he can do that. You want a passing midfielder to take tempo, he can do that. You want a defensive midfielder. I mean, he man-marked Eden Hazard out of the game. Against Chelsea, he's a really special talent, and it's really notable when he doesn't play. And United definitely didn't missed him yesterday.
Okay, right.
Love you, Ander.
Shall we move on? We're going to
Sure.
do.
Can we just talk about Ander Herrera for the rest of the show?
Tell you what,
The rest of the
Adam,
show.
just because everyone will enjoy it. Here's 60 seconds just to talk about Ander Herrera. Go.
Just do his chant.
Ander Herrera is a beautiful Spanish man. He came to Manchester United and he won all of our hearts. Not only does he score goals, as Mo said, but he's an incredible defensive player. He can pass the ball. He man-marks guys like Eden Hazard out of the game while still getting a goal and an assist. If he doesn't get the armband in the future, it's an absolute disgrace, not only to Manchester United, but to football itself. He should be holding our armband. He should be running that midfield at Manchester United for the rest of his career alongside Paul Pogba. And you know what? They're going to win fucking everything.
Well, that was
good. That was good.
Love you, Ander.
Very good.
That was good.
If that doesn't go viral, the internet's wasted. Right.
We're making a lot of big statements here, guys. We're making a lot of big statements about football, the internet, taking them all on.
That's what this show is all about.
If we can't do that, what can we do? Right, so let's do team predictions. So for Anderlecht, Adam McCullough got 9 correct players from the starting 11.
Whoa.
Paul, off of the Rantcast, got 10. All season, people have aimed, but nobody has yet achieved 11 correct players in the starting lineup. We decided earlier, well, I'd say we decided, producer Chris decided, that anybody who gets 11 points gets a 30-point bonus.
Wow.
Oh!
Originally he said 50, and I suggested that was perhaps a bit silly. Chris is in excited.
Why are you trying to hold us back, Sam?
Well, we're offering. Well, because I just think sometimes limits are important.
You're always trying to hold us.
No, well, it's
back,
because, for example, Adam's got 99
well, there we
points.
go.
If Adam gets 11 and a 50, he'll be clear.
I already won this, Sam. Let's be real with this.
You
I'm
haven't.
on 99.
Yeah.
I'm on 99 points.
Statman Dave's an 83.
The guy
So-
party like.
Mohammed's on 19. He could add himself some points.
I reckon I've got a pretty high points per prediction.
Yeah, Rachel's on 34.
I
you get
definitely
11,
don't have a good points per prediction.
We'll just get 11 now, Rachel, and
But
then
if
you'll
I
go with a
had
huge
got
score.
50, if I'd got 50 and 11, I could have overtaken
Some people.
Adam if you weren't trying to restrict
not Adam.
me.
You still wouldn't have overtaken Adam. Don't get ahead of yourself.
But I would have been
right.
close.
Let's just see if your prediction is any good.
Why are we doing this?
Do your team.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Am I going first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, I had lots of stresses with this because I can't predict what Jose is going to do. But here's what I went with, just because I can sort of defend it and then hope for the best. Because taking part is what counts. David De Gea in goal, because we need to use him while we've still got him. I went Valencia at right back, which I'm highly regretting now because he played so hard the other day and I feel like he'll be very tired. But I don't want to have to play Darmian, so I'm putting Valencia in. Bailly and Blin, because they're our only centre-backs. And Luke Shaw at left-back, again, because I don't want to see Darmian. And then I've gone Pogba, Herrera, and I went Carrick. I know I could have gone Fellaini, but I just feel like that is not the option we need. That's not the option I want to see. I feel like if we're belting balls into Fellaini against Burnley, they're just so used to it. I feel like they can defend against that. I want some form of creativity to break them down. So I did 4-3-3, and then I did 3 at the front of, again, a debate, but I went Mkhitaryan, Martial and Rashford, because as much as I love Jesse Lingard and he can get a great shot off from distance, I'm not looking for a player to run a lot on Sunday. I'm looking for somebody with creativity. So that was my team. I'm not very confident in it, but I'm okay. I'm okay.
Well,
I'm not embarrassed.
Thank
I'm
you very
okay.
much for your team and an update on your emotional well-being. Mohammed, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Stable.
Big Dave in goal. He's going to Madrid in the summer, but he can stay in goal for now. I originally put Valencia down at right back, but I'm thinking, he ran a lot, ran hard. I think it's going to be Ashley Young at right back. Bit of rotation. No, it's not nice, but it is what it is. Bailey and Blin at centre half, just because everyone else is injured. Left back, I think it will be Darmian. I think he'll rotate left backs. Plus, I don't think he really likes Luke Shaw all that much. Any chance to not play him is a chance he'll take. Base midfield, Ander Herrera didn't play it all last night, and Marouane Fellaini, who only came on off the bench. Yeah, and you know, great assist for the winning goal. In the three behind the striker, I reckon you're going to have Lingard because he only played 60 minutes odd last night. Pogba because he always plays Pogba. Martial, I think, is going to get a go because the Manchester Derby is coming up on Thursday, and he's definitely not going to play Martial in the Manchester Derby. So he's going to have to play him here to rotate his team and rest Mkhitaryan, I think, because Mkhitaryan ran like constantly for the game last night. I mean, he didn't always do well. And then up front, it's Big Rash, isn't it? It's got to be.
I don't know if Big Rash is necessarily it doesn't sound like a great nickname.
Young
Big Rash up front.
It's not a good nickname.
Let's go with what I've said on Twitter was the marvellous Marcus Rashford.
Oh, that's nice. That's better than like Big Rash's Rash.
Sound like a comic book hero.
Amen.
I mean, you can't chant it, can you?
Marvellous
Marcus
Marvellous
Rashford.
Marvin Hagler, isn't it?
I
kid.
love Marcus Rashford.
Adam, tell us about your team.
I forgot what team I sent to Chris. 1 second.
Great.
I got a joke for you, though. I got a joke for you.
Please tell us the
It
joke.
better be funny.
Ibra's leg went so far back, it saw Liverpool's last league win.
Oh, that's
It's a proper dad joke, that, isn't it?
it is. It's a cruel
Someone
one.
I'm not a dad, so.
Someone said in a fan cam yesterday, just check these out. Check the fan cams out, by the way, cheeky plug. He said Marcus Rashford was running everywhere today. He goes, I'm going to get home, he's going to be my back garden. I couldn't stop fucking laughing.
That guy should be on this preview ahead of any of
He
us.
should replace me, to be honest. My team news, you see how I bought
Team news. You know for sure now.
Oh,
The news.
I've let my,
Right.
I've let the secret out. Now you know why I'm talking.
Rachel, I don't usually do this, but can you calm down for 30 seconds so Adam can do his team?
Sorry, I'm just excited to be here.
And that's nice. But let's see what he's doing, and then you can shout at him.
Rachel's on day release today. We apologise. Anyway, my team is Romero, Valencia, Bailey, Rojo, Luke Shaw is not starting. It's more in hope than expectation. Fellaini, Pogba, Herrera, Mickey. No. Mickey's not in it. Shit, Mickey isn't it? Mickey's Zlatan, Marshall. I messed my team up. I shouldn't have picked Mickey.
What are you doing?
What about Zlatan?
What have you done? What you've said out loud is not what you sent to producer Chris.
Is this the wrong week?
I read the message I sent for the Anderlecht preview.
Yeah.
Oh.
What, do you want to try that again? So what happens is, for the benefit of those watching at home, because it actually happened last week, so the guys that come on the preview, they send an email to producer Chris with their teams so that he can put up the lovely graphic of the players in. So like last week, when Ian said De Gea in goal, and I said no, you said Romero, and everyone said no, but he actually physically said De Gea. He did, but he'd previously sent in his team, and he said Romero. Adam has done similar, except done a completely different team.
So basically, what I did, guys, I thought I emailed it to Chris. So I went to my sent emails, and the last email I'd sent to Chris was my Anderlecht team. So I started reading my Anderlecht team out. And now
The full thing.
Now I've got into my text. I've seen the team that I sent for the Burnley preview is David De Gea, Valencia, Bailey, Blind, Luke Shaw, Fellaini, Herrera, Pogba,
It's exactly
Mickey,
the same.
Lingard, and Rashford.
It's almost exactly the same.
Makes more
And
sense.
you still got Mickey in it.
Well, that was interesting. I'm going to have a look at some of the comments, which included, that was a shocking selection, Rachel. Embarrassing.
No, that was the main point. It's not embarrassing.
Statman Dave says, FFS, Mac. I'll allow you to interpret that as you will. And Pratula Singh thinks Rooney will start.
Ooh.
I can see it.
See, I think Rooney might start the Manc Derby because he's always done really well against City, but
I don't know if I see Mkhitaryan starting the derby after he played
Marcus
so
Rashford
badly.
start in the derby with his pace and that defence.
Okay.
Did I say Rashford? I meant Mkhitaryan.
Let's talk about Burnley. Does anybody know anything about Burnley?
They're great at
Their
home. That's all
goalkeeper,
anybody knows.
I think has made the most saves all season. I think.
He's
Made the most saves all season. 164, I think. Statman Dave,
11 were
maybe you
against
can.
us.
We own him.
Can you put that in here? Because I think he's made the most saves all season. Could you just write that in the comments, Dave, so I know if I'm right? The
Fact
rest
check
of you
me
talk
live.
about Burnley while I just keep an eye on this to see if I'm right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're really good. Obviously, they're struggling away, but they somehow managed to get a draw at Old Trafford. They're a really good home side, and yeah, I think that's going to be the tricky part for United. Is getting a result at Turf Moor. I mean, they lost to Spurs, but other than that, they don't really. I mean, they held Chelsea. They're a tricky side, but I will say this: the best teams tend to go there and win. I mean, City went there and won. Obviously, I said Spurs. I mean, Arsenal drew, but then are Arsenal really one of the best sides anymore? But look, the key thing to worry about Burnley is the right side. I mean, creatively, Scott Arthur's created the most chances. He's had the most chances. He's got 29. Matt Lowton has 26. That's it's the right side of their midfield. That's going to be going up against either Darmian or Luke Shaw and possibly Martial left wing. That's where you want to keep an eye on them for the counter attack. In defence, it's just a matter of breaking them down. I mean, we saw what happened at Old Trafford. United created 1 billion chances and couldn't take them. Zlatan just kept taking that big old wind-up and gave Tom Heaton loads of time to adjust. If Rashford starts, I think it'll be more about pace and movement. United should be winning this, really, but it's probably, given the way United have been in the league, it's probably just going to be a draw, like a 1-1 draw, a 0-0 draw. But... yeah, I'm curious to see actually how Michael Keane does, because I think he's surely going to leave Burnley at the end of the season, and it wouldn't be the worst thing for you to bring him back to Old Trafford.
£30 million in the rumours, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. He's really, really good as well. Yeah, and he knows United, of course.
He does. Adam, what do you think about Burnley? Is Michael Keane a concern? Also, Dave let me know I was correct. Tom Heaton has made the most saves all season. So.
Yeah, and his ass. We made Tom Heaton and Michael Keane. So really, they shouldn't even be allowed to play against us.
Valid point.
Great logic.
Really, they're only on loan, right? Michael Keane, I'm not really asked if we do bring him back or not. If he does come back, it's a decent signing. I was looking at Johnny Evans the other day, and I was thinking he would start every single week for Manchester United right now.
Yeah, no, he really would.
Imagine we sold Evans and we kept Smalling and Jones. Imagine that happened in real life, because it fucking did.
There's a lot of players.
We went so long without swearing.
Might be good, but we did.
Right,
we
Burnley.
Did. We must move on. Yes, to Burnley.
Burnley, Gray. He's dangerous, isn't he? Scored 9 goals. They've only won 1 in their last 10 games, though, Sam. So there's no excuses, man. And we've been decent away from home. We've won games against sides like this that are going to make it difficult for us and all this, that, and the other away from home. Mm-hmm. Our problems have been at home. And I think the Burnley game has kind of summed up our whole season at home. And I hope our away form is reflected at Turf Moor. We get a victory. We should be getting a victory. But will Jose just kind of, now we're in the semis, kind of just think, fuck the league?
I don't know, Adam. I suspect not.
No.
He still has a reputation. He's still a possibility of top 4. Go on, Rachel. Give us a few opinions on Burnley, and then we'll do the predictions, and then we'll all lay down and try and cry this off.
Just responding to what Adam just said, I don't think at any point Jose has ever fully prioritised. There has been prioritisation, but he's never actually abandoned one of our competitions.
He's spread his eggs over many baskets.
Yeah, spread his eggs over the many baskets. How many weeks have we got left in the Premier League? 6-7 games we've got left, and there's only 2 Europa League games now before the end of the season. So I don't think he's going to throw away the Premier League.
Nope.
But beyond that,
put me in my place.
Okay,
yeah, Adam.
So it's good.
Yeah. Shall I?
Anyway, so moving on from that, what everybody knows about Burnley is that they win at home and they lose away. And like Mo said, teams can go there and win. It isn't they're not the best at home in the league. I think they're 6th. But the problem with that is everybody beats Burnley when they're away from home, apart from us, who it's not about that we can't defend against Burnley. They didn't score any goals, but we don't score goals. I feel like it comes up in every conversation because it is so pivotal to our season. Our finishing is rubbish. We don't score goals. We will go there, and I'm sure we'll keep a clean sheet. But the point is, will we actually get behind their defence and score? I don't know. I think we will, because we're on a bit of a high at the moment.
Well, we have the third best away record in the league, so it's possible. Rachel, what do you think the score will be?
1-0 to us.
Nice, positive. Adam McCullough.
If Burnley win, by the way, they have 5 more points than us. In fact, they have more home points than us in the at the moment. That's disgrace. Fucking hell. What is wrong with United, man?
Just guess a score. That's all you got to do. It's okay.
Why do we draw?
You've upset
It's not
yourself
even
again.
like we spoke earlier about how we shouldn't have been challenging for the title this season, but we should have been doing better. If we won our games, we should have been challenging for.
Yeah.
Well, that's true of everybody. If everybody won all their games, they'd all be challenging.
No, but you know what I mean, Sam.
I do.
You
I
know
completely
what
understand. I do. I'm being facetious.
I think it comes back to finishing again, because conceding 1 goal at home isn't actually the end of the world, and no team would really be like that worried about that.
Speaking of finishing,
if we could score more than 1 goal. Sorry.
Shall we do the predictions?
I'm going.
Stop now.
I'm going. 2-0 Man United. It's going to be difficult, but I think we'll get the breakthrough, and then I think we'll get a second and wrap it up.
Nice. Yeah, let's wrap it up. Mohammed, prediction.
1-1.
1-1?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's exciting. Well, I'll say 2-0. Is that what you said, Adam?
Yeah.
Then 2-1. I don't know.
Mo's got it said 1-1.
Right, let us know what you think. Get in the comments below. Thank you very much to everyone that stayed with us and watched this. Enjoy your lives. See you later.
Apologies.
Yeah, sorry about all this.
Bye.